Okay, so in this example, we're going to be looking at the subtotal function. This is a function that's often misunderstood as far as when one should be using it. All right. In our example, we have a number of sales transactions. We've got the dates and the company name, a lot of different information, including the total for the sale over at the end there. And what we want to be able to do is apply a filter like you see already having been applied here. So this, what you see right there, if we were to go into data, all right, I'll just take it off right now. If I take it off, that's what it looks like. So if I go back into data, hit the filter, oh, wrong one there. So click in this area here, hit my filter, all right, and you'll see the little filter drop down arrows. Now we have a whole series of videos on database, and that I think is module 7 of Excel, where we cover this very, very extensively. But just for what you need to know now, we use the filter to focus in on specific data. We might want to just see those transactions where the category is seafood, or see those transactions where the sales rep is Hendricks, or where the country is Canada, or a combination of those, right? But whatever we end up doing, what we want to be able to have it do, though, is whatever is displayed then at the time, after we get done with the filter, we want to be able to see up here in the sales area here, the total of all that is being displayed, all right? Now, if you weren't to use the subtotal function, but rather you were to use, let's say, just say the sum function, what would happen is when you filter this down to whatever number of records, whatever number of rows, when you use the sum function, it will still add up the numbers that are hidden because of that filtering. All right? So what will happen is if I went over here and said, okay, I want to see, in this case, maybe Fuller, hit OK. Well, what that does, you can see down here at the bottom, I've got 4,491 records out of 75,000 that are being displayed. What would happen is, whatever the total, if I just use the sum function up here, I would end up getting not only these, but also the numbers, the rows that are in between. So row 45, row 46, blah, 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 row 56, 57, 58, and on with this. So that's why we do it. I'm going to go back and clear that filter for now. Okay, so that's what we do. So we use the subtotal, and then we can do a subtotal with sum. We can do a subtotal with count, meaning how many records are in here. A subtotal on the average of whatever is left over here, from the filter. What the highest number was after the filter, what the lowest number was after the filter. Or even if I'm not filtering anything, then I'll be able to see the total sales, everything in here, as well as how many transactions, what the average is, and so forth. All right? These are the formulas that you'll use. Okay? And I figured I'd put these out there so that you can kind of just have a look at them. Now, just so you know ahead of time, you look at this function here, and then you see this one over here, and you're saying, well, what's the difference between the two? Well, the one that's a 109 versus a 9, if you use the 9 and you're filtering, it will properly add up that which is left over, after the filtering. All right. If you instead were to go in and manually hide certain rows, in other words, go to row 12, hide it. Go to row 17, hide it. This will not pick up on that. All right. So what you have to do instead is use this one here. Well, what's really cool about this whole thing is that if you just use this one, it won't matter if you hide it manually or hide it using a filter, you will get the proper calculation. All right, so that's key. So what I think we'll do for this example is we'll just completely ignore this, and we'll just use these formulas here to make this all happen. All right? So here's what we're going to do as well. Well, actually, we'll do this now. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back over here to B2. And we're going to type in equal SUB. All right, and we've got subtotal. Double click that. And then you get your list of what you want to do. Now, if you're trying to sum, in this case, sum would be, in this case, the number 9 for sum. But if you want this to be like almost universal, where it will work both on filtered and just rows that you've hidden, right, that you don't want to be added up, then instead of doing number 9, you can actually just pick 109. All right, now you can type that number in yourself as well, but we'll just double click it here. Do that. Then we do a comma, all right, and then we just specify the range that we want to add up. So we'll go ahead and we'll click onto here, and then very quickly we'll just do a Control-Shift down arrow key that will highlight all the way down many, many thousands of rows. We'll hit the Enter key, and there you go. So now for the sales, what we have here, if we go ahead and do a filtering. So right now, because we have no filter in place, we've done almost 1.5 billion in sales, okay? So now if I were to go over to the rep field here, the little filter, hit the select all, that'll get rid of all the checks, and just pick Hendricks, all right? Hit OK, all right? Now it knocks it down from, many billions down to 105 million, because that's what is being displayed. So all those hidden rows are not being calculated. That is very cool. Now the other thing that we can do to kind of save ourselves some time from having to, do this range each time, selecting it. I mean, we see it there. I mean, you can, obviously copy that, but I'm just saying when you're doing this on your own, that might be a lot of data. What we could actually do, like we did a few videos ago, we can actually name the range, right? So we can name this range. So the range that we're adding up, and before we do that, we're going to clear the filter too, by the way. So I'm just going to hit filter, clear right here, and that'll clear it all out. Okay, so so what we'll do here is we're going to select this range of total. So we're going to do a Control-Shift down arrow key, all right? We'll go up to our name box. We'll type in the letter T. That's simple enough, right? Hit the Enter key. So now that range is also known as, it's known as H9 through H75,008, but it's also known as T, right? So now I can go to the count, and I can do equal, and then do our sub, and there's our subtotal, right? And in this case, we want to do the number 3, or again, if we want to do this, universally, both for hidden and filtered data, then we'll just go down to 103. All right, we'll double click that. All right, comma, the letter T. So right there, that replaces having to do that whole range. Enter that in, and there we go. So there's 75,000 transactions, all right? Now the next one we're going to do is the average, okay? And we're going to use 101 for that one. So we're going to do equal SUB, all right? There's our subtotal, all right? And we're going to go with, like I said, number 101. So there's 101 average. Double click that, comma, T. Enter that in. There we go there, all right? And just a couple more here. This next one's going to be basically the max function and the min function, right? From other videos that you've watched. So we'll do our equal SUB, subtotal. Okay, so we're going to do the max. It'll be 104, comma T. There we go. And then equal subtotal. and this is going to be 105 for the min, right, comma T, right? There we go. It's all set. So now what we can do is we can sit there and go, okay, I want to see only sales made by Hendrix. All right, so I go over my filter, hit the select all to get rid of everything, and then find Hendrix in my list here. Click onto that, put a little check mark in there. Now it went off the screen, but right towards the bottom here there's an OK, and you would just hit OK on that. And there you go. So now we've got 5,228 records being displayed. That's how many sales transactions came from Hendrix. Now we also want to focus in from that group on only seafood and beverages, right? So we can go over here to the drop down there, select all. We're going to do beverages, and at the bottom, well, I guess you can see that is seafood, right? So we do those two, hit OK. There we go. Not bad. So now we're down to 1,704 records. And then the other thing is we want to see only those transactions for, let's just say, the year 2019. Okay? So we go over to the drop down by order date. Take that check mark off. Do that. So just for 2019. It's really nice how it groups the data for you. Hit OK, and there it goes. So now we're down to 335 records. Then you get the brainy idea. You say, you know what? I want to see 2019, but I just want to see the last quarter of 2019. All right? So we're going to narrow it down even further. So we'll click on that little drop down again. Yeah, this went off the screen a little bit, so you're not going to be able to see this. What I'm, well, let's see, hang on a second. Yeah, so it's going to be a little problem you seeing this, but what's going to happen is when you go to the order date, and what will happen is you don't see it, but about right here is where 2019 is. Okay, I'm going to de-check it. I'm going to take the check mark off. I'm going to hit my little plus that's next to the check mark, okay, or next to the checkbox. This sort of opens up. I wish I could pull that over for you, but well, maybe I can here. Let's do this. No, I won't do it. Anyway, so I de-check 2019, and what I do then is I find the October, November, and December choices, check off just those three, hit OK, and now I'm down to 80 transactions, and this is what we have here. So Hendrix selling seafood and beverages in the last quarter of 2019. So the whole idea of this exercise mainly is to show you why you'd use a subtotal, function, and understanding that it in essence allows you to add up a range of numbers, especially a column range of numbers. It could be either way too, but column of numbers, and not add up those that you've either filtered and hid or manually went in there and hid, all right, by just, hiding the row. So either way, this calculation here, the 10 whatevers, are the way to go to make it just absolutely universal, in case you ever think of maybe not only doing filtering here, but also finding certain ones in here and hiding them as well, right? So a lot of good ideas I hope that you can maybe use, but it's a great little tool. And again, I'll just say this too: if you're using the pivot table, or you're thinking about using the pivot table feature, this kind of stuff is done for you very quickly using a pivot table. It's just that this is more of kind of like an alternative to using the pivot table. Got a nice little table, nice little form at the top there, and you see your totals and everything else. So you can go both ways, but again, this is the way to do it if you want it to look like what you see here. So thanks a lot for watching the video, and appreciate it, and take care.